My main areas of expertise are corporate and commercial law. In this video, I'll be talking about what to do next after forming your company. One of the first things that you'll need to consider when you have set up your company is what contracts you'll need to put in place. There are a number of contracts and related issues that you'll need to consider once you have incorporated. The first contract that you may require is a shareholders agreement. This will be required if there's more than one shareholder in your company. A shareholders agreement is an agreement between the shareholders of a company. The purpose of the shareholders agreement is to protect the shareholders' investment in the company and establish a fair relationship between the shareholders and govern how the company is run. The agreement will set out the shareholders' rights and obligations, will regulate the sale of the shares in the company, describe how the company is going to be run, provide an element of protection if there's minority shareholders, and define how important decisions are going to be made. When you've incorporated your company, you're very likely to have adopted the Model Articles of Association. The Model Articles will contain all the basics, but they'll be silent on what happens should you want to sell your shares, on how the shares should be valued. You might want to consider putting in good and bad leaver provisions to incentivise directors and shareholders. You might also consider adding provisions about what should happen if you sell your company in the future. We can help you draft your Articles of Association at LawBite to help you protect your interests in the company. Once you have incorporated your company, you will need to consider how you're going to fund your company. You may have your own funds which you want to invest in the company. You may purchase shares in the company with these funds, or you might make directors' loans. You may have other founders who are also looking at making loans or purchasing shares in the company. It's important to put in place legal documentation which sets out the basis on which you are investing in your company. You may also be looking at third parties to provide funding, such as banks and investors. If you are asking an investor to invest in your company, then they should sign an investment agreement and also a shareholders agreement. If you're arranging bank finance, then you'll need to sign loan agreements. You may also be asked to sign personal guarantees. Try to avoid signing these where possible, as they'll make you personally liable for the company's obligations and will cut through any limited liability protection in the company. Your intellectual property is the crown jewels of your company, and you will need to consider putting in place protection to protect one of your most valuable assets. When you set up your company, you're likely to have created new intellectual property, such as trademarks, logos, and brands. You may also wish to consider protecting your intellectual property by registering a trademark. There are many other types of intellectual property that your company might hold, and you should consider each of these and what protections you may wish to create, such as patents and registered design rights. For example, you might have created software or a specific design which is going to be manufactured, and you will want to make sure that no other businesses can copy these. If your new company has employees, it's very important to ensure that your employees have all signed contracts of employment. The contract of employment should contain all of the contractual terms that are required under law. Some of the most key terms are as follows: remuneration, working hours and details of shifts, places of work and relocation obligations, notice details, and any applicable post-termination restriction. You may also put in place directors' service agreements or letters of appointment. If you are trading online, there are a number of legal requirements that you'll need to comply with. You'll need to make sure that you have a privacy policy, a cookie policy, and website terms of use. If you're selling through your website, you'll also need to put in place terms and conditions of sale. If you're selling to consumers, you also need to comply with consumer laws. And you will also need to comply with the GDPR and the Data Protection Act 2018. LawBite has a lot of experience in helping businesses comply with all the legal requirements when trading online. For help and assistance, please get in touch with us. It's a good idea to take legal advice, particularly if you're a startup business, as there are many legal issues that you need to think about and contracts that you'll need to put in place once you've incorporated. LawBite has experienced lawyers, and we can help you with all the commercial and corporate legal matters in relation to your incorporation. and the contracts that you'll need to put in place after incorporation. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you found it helpful.